Hi, I'm Lizzie and welcome to my garden here at the Rose Press. I'm so excited to share with you how to autumn sow snapdragons, and I have a huge confession that this is the first time I've ever done it. I usually sow my snapdragons in January, February or March for flowers that summer. However, I've seen so many people posting their gorgeous snapdragons that they got much earlier in the season and they were much stronger and healthier. So I'm going to do both this year. I'm going to sow in autumn now, and then I'm also going to sow in spring next year. I absolutely love snapdragons. They're so beautiful. They look amazing in borders, lovely and tall. The bees love them. They're brilliant for cut flowers. They're just so versatile, and there's so many pretty varieties. So today I'm going to sow Snapdragon Lucky Lips, which has this gorgeous white petals with really deep pinky red kind of fade, like a gradient on each of the petals. But there's also some really gorgeous pastel colours coming onto my website very soon, or if not already. So go and have a look and see if you can get your hands on some. Now, one of the reasons why I think snapdragons are so brilliant for autumn sowing is that they take quite a long time to germinate, so they can take up to 30 days. So if you're impatient, then these probably aren't the ones for you, but I promise you they are worth the wait because snapdragons are so pretty. They often as well, once they've germinated, they look like they're not really doing a lot for a while, but as soon as you get them out into the ground in spring anyway, they just shoot up and they suddenly just come to life. So yeah, one of my absolute favourites. So I'm really excited to sow snapdragons this autumn with you all, and I'm hoping it will be a success for us all. So make sure, if you haven't got some snapdragons already, that you get a packet and we can do some on an Instagram live together, probably in September time soon. So I'm going to sow some now. I'm going to sow half the packet with everyone on an Instagram live in the next coming weeks. So I'm just going to fill up a cell tray, and for snapdragons the best thing to do is to sow individual seeds in each cell. So if you have got kind of trays like this where you may have bought pansies or violas, etc., then they're really handy. If you haven't and you've just got pots like this, it's not the end of the world. You just need to spread them out a little bit, and we can always pot them on and prick them out and pot them on at a later date. So I'm just going to fill this up full of compost. And I'm filling it up quite to the top because snapdragons need light to germinate, so they're a little bit different from some of the other flowers that we sow where we then cover them with compost. Instead, we're going to leave them like this, so you want to make sure they're quite near the top. You don't want them to be over brimming, because when you water them through the next couple of weeks, they'll end up kind of draining off the side and you might lose your tiny little snapdragon seeds off the side. So make sure you fill them up, but then give them a little firm down just to make sure that there's enough room so that when you water them, and in fact I'm going to water them now before I sow the seeds so that I don't then have to water them for a few days. And I actually, rather than watering with like a big watering can for snapdragons, I tend to use a mister, which just keeps the top layers nice and damp, and means that they'll germinate with the light, with that dampness, but yet they're not soaking through, washing the seed away down the nooks and crannies of here, and it means that you get your snapdragon seeds growing and germinating right in the centre of each seed cell rather than down the side where they might struggle. So I definitely recommend giving them a water, so I'm going to do that now, and then I'll come back and show you how to sow them. So I've given them the tray of very good water, and I'm about to sow the seeds on top. So the main thing to note about snapdragon seeds is that they are tiny. They are like dust. It's been a nightmare to pack these, and they're also quite expensive seeds. So just be really careful when you're opening them up to make sure that you don't have any that do a bit of a runner. And you want to make sure your hands, even after watering it, are really dry, because you don't want to get them stuck, etc. And Nicole at Cherry Garden Flowers, she has an amazing method of using a toothpick, and she wets the toothpick and puts each individual seed onto here. So you can do that. I'm going to try and do it. I've got some left in there, so I'll do some more in a bit. But I'm going to try and pick each individual one up and just place it in the middle there on top, in the middle. And this just means that they have plenty of room to grow, and that you don't need to sow them, because if you sow them in a tray, because they're so small, they're gonna all sit together. So try and get as many spread out in each individual seed cell that you can. I'm trying to get them in the middle as well, which will just help. That one went a bit, I'm gonna put another one in there because I think that one jumped out of my hands. There's a few more which I'll save to sow in a couple of weeks time again as well. And the good thing is about saving some is that if you have any that haven't germinated, or if there's any that like maybe don't look too healthy, you can then always sow another one in that seed cell. So I'll put them safely back in there and close that up for a later date. And then I will just need, here it is, to label these as well. So I'll write on here Snapdragon, Lucky Lips, and I'll put on there when I've sown them as well. So you can sow them mid-August through into September and October time, and then I would probably then wait and then do the rest in either January, which gives them loads of time to germinate and get them growing nice and early in the season. But you can sow them all the way through, you know, some people even sow them in May and get a much later flowering from them, but I definitely recommend the sooner the better. So they're watered. I'm not going to water them again because the seed will be in contact with the wet soil here, but I will mist them every couple of days just to make sure that they stay moist and they're ready to germinate. And I'll pop these under cover in my mini greenhouse, and I will then water them, like I say, every few days, making sure they don't get too wet or too damp, but also don't dry out. So I will sow these now. I'm going to sow another couple of trays in a few weeks of different varieties as well, and then I'm going to sow some more in the spring, so I've got a continuous flowering set. But you can either do either option, or you can try both and grow along with me as well. But I hope that was helpful. If you've got any questions about Snapdragons, then let me know and how to sow them, and I hope that was helpful, and I'm looking forward to seeing all your photos of all your Snapdragons germinating in the next month or so, and all of the gorgeous flowers next year as well. Thank you so much for watching.